What's going on, everybody? This is Goofy Rexy. I hope you guys are all doing well today. So in today's video, we are going to be discussing when is it the right time for you as a beginner player, as a mid-game player, when is it the right time for you to start focusing down on working on war teams? So it could be your war defense team, your war offense team. Most likely it's going to be a war offense because you put a lot more weight on war offense than you do defense, typically. So it's most likely going to be when you start focusing on war offense teams. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video, which is actually good because right now I'm in that same process where I'm focusing down a lot, on war offense teams right now at the moment. So I think it's a good appropriate time for me to do this video here. But in general, there's a lot of things that you have to focus on in this game, right? There is your arena, there's your raids, there's splits, it's a lot of things coming at you all at once. So you kind of got to try to figure out when is it the right time for you to focus down on this one particular area in the game, when you have all these other things that you have to worry about. But let's backtrack to the very beginning. So if you're starting off in this game, right, Alliance war, you don't get to do war until you get to level 45. Like you yourself as a player get to level 45, right over here. And then when your alliance gets the alliance that you're currently in, when they get to alliance level 20, right? So first and foremost, that's not going to matter, right? Doing war or working on war teams is not going to matter until you at least hit level 45 and until right here too as well, your alliance level, just so you know where you do your donations every single day, that is where you're going to be able to find out what particular alliance level you're currently at too as well. So you're gonna want to make sure that at least you get there before you even worry about working on the specific war teams. That's not gonna make sense until you at least get there. And I also want to put this plug in too as well. If you're in the beginning part of the game and you're still in that early alliance that you got placed into, once you get to your player level, once you get to player level 20, they throw you into an alliance. And it's a beginner alliance and it's a random beginner alliance, right? Beginner alliances aren't bad, but the random beginner alliance that Marvel Strike Force throws you into, you want to get yourself out of that alliance immediately. And you want to go try to find yourself into an alliance that's at the same level that you are for the most part, or even if they're a little bit higher, someone that alliance that's going to be able to help you. You want to get into a good functioning alliance that's doing raids every single day. You can find a good, alliance on Discord. There's Discord servers where you can find a good alliance. There's Facebook, there's Reddit, and you can also look in game too as well to find some alliances that are out there too. But I definitely think the best way is probably to go on those Discord servers, Facebook or Reddit, to try to find an actual good alliance that is going to be able to help you. So first and foremost, get into a good alliance. Then also once you get to level 45 and then your alliance gets to level 20, that's when you can actually start doing war. But the question is, when do you start working on war teams? So I believe that there are a few things that you should definitely do first before targeting working on war teams. The first thing is there's arena, right? Arena is going to be a little bit more important than you working on specific war offense teams. Your arena shard is really where you're going to be getting a lot of your cores. As you continue to rank up, that's where you're going to be getting your cores. That's where you're going to be getting your arena credits. You need your arena credits in the beginning part of the game, right? Because you have to farm characters that are in that arena store for legendaries. So you need your Drax, you need your Vulture, you need your Crystal that's in there, Mordo's in there, like all characters that you need in order to be able to unlock legendaries. They're all in that arena store. Blob, as well as in the arena store. So there's just a lot of characters that you need in that arena store. So you want to make sure that you're solidifying your arena team first before you even consider or even processing, working on your war teams. Now, arena is going to continually change, but I kind of just want to plug this into your mind that arena is very important. As you continue to go throughout this game, you're going to realize that you're going to always need to work on your arena team. Well, basically what I'm saying is you shouldn't, if you're in the beginning part of this game, you shouldn't be worrying about, you're like 0 to 6 months, you really shouldn't be worrying about specific war teams because your arena is going to be a little bit more important before you even can even process and think about war teams. The next thing too is then your raids. Obviously, you're going to want to make sure that you're working on teams for your raid team. not primarily your Greek raids, because Greek raids, they're going to change. You're going to be doing gamma and alpha and beta, like those are going to change. I wouldn't work on specific teams for those. You know, as you start to build out a wider roster, you're going to get teams that can do those raids anyways. And then once you start to build out those teams and those teams that come higher, you'll realize that your Greek raids are actually going to become a lot easier to do, you know, because you're going to be building out roster. You're going to be building out your roster, which is going to help you in those Greek particular raids. But what I'm talking about are your Ultimus raids, you know, making sure that you're solidifying, you know, teams that you're working on your Ultimus raids. So right now, you know, currently I'm kind of using a bunch of different teams, but I have a lot of characters that I can use. This was a rough run, y'all. Black Bolt and Carnage and Shuri did not fare well in this last run, but I'm kind of experimenting with my raid teams right now because I'm kind of getting bored. It's a little too easy, so I'm kind of getting bored with a lot of these teams. So kind of just experimenting with a lot of teams. But the point is, you're gonna want to yourself make sure that you're at least kind of solidifying your arena teams, solidifying your raid teams, so that you can be successful in those particular areas. And of course, you know, I should have mentioned this earlier, campaigns, right? Like, you're going to want to make sure that you're progressing through these campaigns, your heroes campaign, your villains, you know, campaign, progressing through them, you know, your Nexus campaigns, things like that. You want to at least make sure that you're working on teams, at least for arena, for raids, for campaigns, things like that, before you even think about working on specific war teams. Now, in the process of that, you're probably going to build up some teams that can do things in war, right? So as you work on arena teams, as you work on raid teams, as you work on teams for your campaigns, you realize that naturally you're actually starting to build up some of the teams that you actually need for war as you continue to progress throughout the game. So that's also kind of a little thing too as well I want to throw in there for you guys, just so that you guys know that as you continue to build out some of these teams for different things, your different campaigns, you know, your arena, your raids, you're gonna naturally start to get into, you know, teams that you can use for war. Also, I want to plug this in there. Don't work on teams specifically for Blitz. Once you start to work on war teams and like you work on teams for your campaigns and things like that, you will realize that you will also have a wider roster that you can use to build out, that you can use for your Blitz teams too, right? So as you start to work on war teams, war offense, war defense teams, then I believe that you actually realize that you'll start having teams that you can use for Blitz also as well, in my personal opinion. All right, but I digress. I believe that, actually, I should talk about this too before I even talk about when you should start working on war teams. I believe that there's also this aspect too, alliance requirements, because the alliance that you get into is also going to have their set requirements in regards to what they're looking for in terms of war. You know, if you're in a casual alliance that's just like, hey, I just need you to do 4 war attacks, then you probably shouldn't really put too much emphasis on war attack teams, right? You should probably alter the plan or think about a plan where you can get a good, let's say 4 or attack teams later on, like think about it that way, or maybe some other, like maybe working on some other things, you know, as opposed to working on war attack teams sooner than later than sooner, in a sense. Obviously, it's gonna depend on what alliance you're in. If you're in an alliance, it's like, listen, we need you to get in here and do your 8 war attacks. You're probably gonna need to put a plan in place to start working on war teams earlier, or at least start working on teams that are actually going to be good in war earlier than probably, you know, than someone that's in a casual alliance, right? So alliance requirements are also going to dictate this too as well in regards to what they're asking for. So just keep that in mind too when we're processing this whole thing, right? Just processing this whole thing. Think about that also too as well when going into it. But I believe that the right sign that you're probably going to be ready to start working on your war teams is pretty much essentially when you probably, like, once you're 6 months into the game, if you have targeted and if you had bear down on farming for legendaries, if you bear down on preparing yourself to do Dark Dimension 2, once you get Ultron in this game, it kind of gives you the opportunity that you need in order for you to start specifically now working on war teams, whether it be war defense, whether it be war offense. Obviously, war offense is for me is a little bit more important than war defense, because war defense, you want to slow them down. You want to be able to do multiple attacks so that you can clear, more rooms and things like that, by working on your war offense team. So I think that that's the particular time I realized that once you get Ultron, because Ultron helps you to do a few things. He helps you to solidify your arena team. He then helps you to solidify arena defense and offense. He also helps you to solidify your raid team too as well. So whether you're doing Ultimates like 6 or 7, he's a good early sort of U7. And I think a lot of people are still using Ultron in their later U7s. He gives you that opportunity for you to be able to kind of, okay, now these teams are solidified. Now it gives you more of an open opportunity for you to work on things like war offense teams. So I actually think once you get Ultron, you can now start to work on building out that wider roster of characters and teams that you can use for war offense. So yeah, solidify these other things first. Get your arena team set, get your raid team set. Focus farming for your legendaries first. Make sure that you don't stay in that first alliance that you're in. Get out of that alliance and go somewhere else. Like, you want to do that. Like, get into a good alliance. But I do think that if you bear down and if you focus on making sure that you get those farm for those legendaries, that you work your way up to get Ultron. Like I said, within the first 6 months, it's very possible for you to get Ultron if you like really put a plan in place. Once you get that Ultron, and once you build him up to be a part of your arena team, a part of your raid team and your ultimates, I do believe that it is at that point that you are ready now to start working on specific war offense and war defense teams. Like I said again, it's going to depend on a little bit of the requirements that your alliance has. They may only ask for 4 attacks, so you may not need to put that much time into war teams. If they're asking for those 8 attacks, then you're definitely going to need to put a little bit more effort into those war teams. But I do believe that once you do get that Ultron, that it's going to start to be a little bit easier now for you to start working on those war teams. But listen, guys, this is my quick rundown here. I hope that this was helpful for you guys, helpful for you beginners. Obviously, if you have any questions, please ask. Definitely willing and able to do so. My Discord, all my links are down below. You can catch me live. You can catch me and you can ask me questions in Discord. You can also as well, leave it in the comments. You can leave it in the comments too, so if you have any questions. But listen, guys, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Once again, y'all be blessed and y'all be safe.